River Basin Commission Drainage and Water Conservation District meeting here today, Tuesday, January 13th, 2026, 10 a.m. in Ascension Parish Council meeting courtroom. Having called this meeting to order, I would also like to get everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would like to get Mr. Pete Dufresne with us, St. James Parish President, to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, President Dufresne. Ms. Tony, can you call roll for us, please?
Mr. Bailey?
Present.
Mr. Byrd?
Present.
Mr. Clark?
Present.
Mr. Savoy? Mr. Delant? Mr. Dufresne?
Yeah.
Ms. Ferlito?
Present.
Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mr. Rayford?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Lazina?
Here.
Mr. Knight?
Here.
Mr. Kluot?
Here.
All right, thank you, we have a quorum.
All right, thank you. I'd also like to tell everybody Happy New Year. Here it is, 2026. Thought I'd never be saying that, but it is upon us, and we're looking forward to it. Also, 2026 is 10 years after the 2016 flood. So, something to think about, and just letting y'all know we're ready to roll. Any public comments, please register with our Executive Secretary, Ms. Tony Guitro. And there'll be a time after the meeting that we'll entertain public comments, and you're limited to 3 minutes. And also, too, little housekeeping, if we can silence our phones, and we'll get started. Referring to our agenda, number 5, approval of the minutes. Board members, you had a chance to review the minutes. Anybody have any comments on the minutes? Any public comments? I'll entertain a motion to approve as written. I have a motion by Commissioner Bailey.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Rayford. Any opposition to the approval of the minutes? Hearing none, minutes are approved as written. All right, next item on our agenda is approval of our financial statements. And this is for the month of November and the month of December. Any comments, public comments on our financial statements? Board members, any discussion? All right, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to accept as our financial statements for the month of November 2025 and December 2025. I have a motion from Commissioner Bailey. Second from Commissioner Dufresne. Any opposition to our financial statements for November and December? Hearing none, financial statements accepted. All right, moving right along, our next item on our agenda is a report from our ARBC advisor, Mr. Paul Sawyer. Paul?
Thank you, Commissioners. Is this mic on? Okay, great. Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you. Happy New Year. Happy Mardi Gras. 2026 is going to be a big year. And as President Clark referenced, this is the 10th anniversary of the 2016 flood. I think there's going to be a lot of public conversation about the problems and the solutions for the Amite River Basin. So what we do here this year is going to be as relevant or more relevant than any other time. And fortunately, we have a lot of activity going on and a lot of momentum. First is a report on the land acquisition in the upper Amite. We're continuing but winding down the due diligence period. We've completed the phase 1 environmental, and we've completed the appraisal. We're closing on remaining title and survey work, and hopefully we will be moving to closure on this very soon. Hopefully we'll have big things to report at our next meeting. When Mr. Bankston has his turn at the mic, I'll ask if you want to elaborate or correct anything that I just stated. Speaking of Upper Amite restoration, after our last meeting in November, Congress reconvened and passed a number of appropriations and budget measures, of which $2 million was included for the Amite River Basin, for Upper Amite River Basin activity. Congresswoman Letlow has been a partner in this effort. In fact, on the agenda today is an opportunity for us to recognize and acknowledge that partnership. What this $2 million brings to the table is much more valuable than $2 million itself. And so I don't have to explain to anybody here or anybody who's looked at the master plan how important work in the Upper Amite is for the entire basin. The work that we do is huge. I mean, there's just so much that needs to be done. So, why is $2 million so important? Because this $2 million is going to bring a federal agency, the Natural Resource Conservation Service, which is a part of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. It's going to bring them to the table. It's going to bring their brand recognition to the table. And so having them involved and having their participation in our Upper Amite efforts is going to give notice to other funders. It's going to give notice to others in the community about what we're doing and how important our work is. And we believe it's going to attract additional funding opportunities. So that's $2 million that's worth more than $2 million. Speaking of funding, I guess the capital outlay process has its deadlines, and it also is reconciled in the legislative process, but it never really seems to end. So, just to recount for you, we have $2 million in cash from capital outlay. We have $2 million in priority 2 that we've secured in capital outlay, and we've got a request in for another $2 million. Which is more or less a placeholder, and I'll explain on that in just a minute. And then add to that the $2 million that Representative Letlow secured for Upper Amite restoration. And so when you combine all of those sums, we will have 6 now, and by the end of June, potentially $8 million in funding for Upper Amite restoration. And plus we have capital outlay opportunities in the future to continue drawing down just based upon the demand that we demonstrate in our activities. And so the point in bringing that to your attention is that, no, we're not flush with cash, but we are a little agency that's scrapping to get every nickel and dime that we can find, and we're doing it. And so, so by the end of this summer, hopefully we will have $8 million at least, $8 million for Upper Amite restoration, and that's in combination with the efforts that are ongoing in the Lower Amite through our Louisiana Watershed Initiative funding, that $100 million that the parishes are implementing at parish levels. And I'll just remind folks who may be listening and watching that the Amite River Basin Commission, in an effort to get work done as quickly as possible, determined with our parish member commissioners that the work will be carried out more quickly and more efficiently if we delegate that authority to the parishes. And so parishes like East Baton Rouge, Iberville, Ascension, and Ascension again on another project, and St. James and Livingston are all leading these project efforts, and we believe that that's the most efficient way to deliver these projects. One thing I'll mention when we get to the Representative Letlow resolution is that we're joined by one of her very capable staff members, Terry White, who's with us. There she is. Terry's is an asset to Representative Letlow, but she's also an asset to us, and we're glad that she's here. Briefly on Comite River Diversion Project. You have all of the reports in your packet, so I think the highlights, and these seem to be repetitive. The project is moving forward, but we're still hovering around the same lingering projects. I say lingering, I mean these are projects these are the last ones that need to get done. As you recall, this project had been hung up for years on a pipeline relocation snafu, and that has taken years to work itself out, and it is finally working itself out. So if you were to take a bird's eye view of the Comite River Diversion Canal, it would appear almost done. I mean, it looks like it's almost done. Most of the excavating has been done. What's left are the bookends, and I've mentioned this before. What's left are the bookends, the diversion structure, which will allow the Comite River floodwaters to come into the canal, and then also the Brooks Lake closure, which is going to direct it into the Mississippi River. So those projects have to go last. Because you can't, you don't want to invite the Comite River in until it's ready. And then you also have to be sure that the water is getting to where it needs to go efficiently. And so those bookends necessarily have to go last. And then the two major excavation projects and one bridge, the Highway 19 bridge, that's a bridge, that's a highway between the city of Baker and the city of Zachary. And of course, if you're going to build a canal, you have to build a bridge over it. The excavation on either side of Highway 19, as well as the bridge, those are the lingering projects that could not proceed until the utility relocation controversy was resolved. And that issue is for the most part resolved. Construction on the bridge is taking place. Excavation is taking place, or at least the notices to proceed for that excavation are taking place. So without getting into the nitty-gritty details, unless you want to discuss them, most of the information that you want is in your packet. Most of the information that's in your packet is the same information that's been there for months, except for what I just covered. And those are the areas of progress where we think that this canal is going to get moving. Nobody is really willing to pin a deadline on when this will get done. I'll say I think the best educated guess is fourth quarter of 2028 on the optimistic side. I think more likely quarter one, quarter two in 2029. And so, hopefully it occurs much more quickly than that. But I say for this commission, just to develop a level of expectation of when we think that project could be functional. One more thing I will say about the canal is that there are 3 bayous that flow into the canal that have been the primary sources of flooding for the city of Zachary and the city of Baker: Baton Rouge Bayou, White Bayou, and Cypress Bayou. And now the structures, well, originally they were structures. Now it's mostly riprap and just sort of a slope that allows these bayous to go into the canal. Those drop structures are for the most part complete, or nearly complete. And so when those bayous are able to drain into the canal, that virtually eliminates, or I'll just say eliminates, most of the flood risk in Zachary and Baker. So they're gonna benefit from this canal before it's completed, and then when it's completed, they will receive immediate the best protection that they've ever had, and then so will the city of Central, but then also, more importantly, the entire Amite River Basin. I spent more time on that than I expected, but because it's been since October and a government shutdown, since we've had an opportunity to really talk to the Corps of Engineers and get under the hood on this, I wanted to spend a little bit extra time on that. We did have a meeting several months ago with the Corps of Engineers in New Orleans, with the colonel, with the commanding or the district engineer, to represent, the specific parish interests and the Amite River Basin interest to the Corps of Engineers, and it was, we told them that we wanted to engage more frequently, and it was their proposal to meet on a regular basis, on a quarterly basis. So now that the government's opened up again, we've asked them, let's start scheduling that, and so that we can have an opportunity to meet on a regular basis, not just for the Amite River Basin in general, but also for our specific parishes. This will allow us to tell them what we're working on, get a bigger picture of what it is we're working on, and work through permitting issues and design issues and everything that we can, get in front of it to make this process efficient, because everybody who's worked with that part of project development and project delivery knows that it takes a very, very long time, and that communication is key. And then one thing that we stressed at that meeting and that we remind them again is that it's crucial that we meet with them on a regular basis, because if you look at the Corps of Engineers map across the state of Louisiana, which is really, for the most part, below I-10, we're probably the largest metro area that's exposed that doesn't have, what I would say, a Corps of Engineers project. Greater New Orleans area has the hurricane protection system, $15 billion worth of protection. The Bayou region is building the Morganza to the Gulf, levee protection system, $3 billion project. The West Shore Lake Pontchartrain project is protecting the river parishes, and we're adding to that project. Another reason why this is important, we're adding to that project because St. James Parish is taking the lead to improve the protection and the connectivity of that levee to protect that levee system to protect St. James communities. Southwest Louisiana, the Lake Charles area, those are all major, $3 billion plus Corps of Engineers projects, and I'm stating this going back to the reference that President Clark made about, this is the anniversary of the 2016 flood. I just remind commissioners and everybody who's listening that we have the two fastest growing parishes in the state. The Capital Region has the most consistently high-performing economy in the state. The Capital Region is predicted to have to create 20 to 25,000 new jobs, and so fast-growing parish, and we've got the most populated parish in the state. So fast-growing parishes means people. New jobs means people. High-performing economy means new people, and new people means more hard surfaces, more rooftops, more streets, which delivers more water to these to our drainage systems. All of this is good, but it makes our job much more important, and it's why the Corps of Engineers needs to engage with us, because we're exposed. Compared to all the other regions of the state, we're exposed. Winding down, I did present and discussed our upper Amite projects, as well as elaborated a little bit more on our master plan to the East Feliciana Parish Police Jury and to the St. Helena Parish Police Jury. Thank you all for the invitation. And we propose that we want to do this more regularly. Quarterly sounds pretty good, but as frequently or infrequently as possible, so that communities are aware and engaged about what we're doing. And so any opportunity that the Amite River Basin can communicate with parishes or other communities, it's just going to be value added because folks need to know what we're doing. Tomorrow is State Senator Valerie Hodges' task force, the Comite River Diversion Canal and Amite River Basin Task Force. We've been asked to present on the master plan, which we will do. I will speak next week to the Louisiana Engineering Society, and then later this month, I'll be in Washington connecting with our congressional delegation. Last thing, and out of respect for time, last thing I'll mention is that, again, it's the 10th anniversary of the 2016 flood. There are policymakers and political leaders who recognize this, who number one, recognize that it's been 10 years and we really need to ramp up our efforts to make sure that we're protecting our people. And then also that the legislature charged the Amite River Basin Commission with a huge responsibility. Act 490 charges us with a huge responsibility. And I think these other policymakers recognize that the responsibility is this, and our funding is this, and they want to reconcile that. They want to recognize that the resources have to match the task. And so these are other policymakers who are putting these ideas together, and to the extent that those project ideas and those policy ideas are developed, they will be communicated back to the commission, as well as seeking the commission's input on how to improve and how to optimize these policies, because you are the practitioners. Very last thing is Mr. Pittman, Garvin Pittman, is going to present on the Region 9, our Region 9, LWI Region 9 report, as well as talk a little bit about our RCBG grant. And that's it. That's my report, and glad to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions, commissioners?
Y'all just want me to sit down, right?
No, Paul. Great job, great information. I'd just like to say that, kind of echo, like you said, our legislatures, our representatives at the time who had the vision to make this a priority for flooding in this basin. Essentially, they gave us a brand-new 3/4-ton crew cab four-wheel drive truck that's supposed to get us places and carry heavy loads. Unfortunately, at the time, we weren't given any gas. I think right now we're being creative. We might have like a quarter tank. But we're going to get somewhere, and we're looking forward. And like you said, policymakers are starting to make this a priority, and we're excited about it. And we're not going anywhere. We're passionate, and we're going to do some things. The other thing is on the Upper Amite. The importance of the Upper Amite, although that's not a flood area per se, it could be an area that it's unstable, it's unstabilized, and we can do the work in the Lower Amite to get the sediment out of the channel, but we need to look at fixing a problem that helps sustain the corrective action that's done on the Lower Amite, such as stabilizing the Upper Amite to keep the sediment out of the channel and filling in the lower end of the Amite River. Also, in doing this land transaction through capital outlay, I'd like to thank our contractors, for helping us with the EA Phase 1, the appraisal, and working with facility planning. Our contractor half, who helped us get this unstuck, this EA Phase 1, our appraiser, Jim Liu, and our group, Civic, to help facilitate and coordinate it all. And we're excited, and this is going to help us move forward and sustain the things that we do down the lower end of the basin by fixing this.
Absolutely.
Any questions? Thank you, Paul.
Thanks.
Okay, referring back to our agenda, we're looking at number 8, and that is our report from the ARBC Legal Counsel, Mr. Larry Bankston. Larry? Gotcha.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to continue on with what Paul has said, we have preparing information that is required by the capital outlay, the Division of Administration. We're working on those particular items. That all has to be submitted to the division for approval in order for us to be actually funded. So we're diligently working to get those items together to be presented to the Department of, to the Division Administration. And upon that submission, hopefully, they will approve the funding and that we can go forward. That's the major issue that we are dealing with at this particular time. But Paul articulated everything correctly, so no corrections to Paul.
Any comments, commissioners? Any comments, commissioners? Thank you, Mr. Bankson. All right, referring back to our agenda, number 9 is old business. And our ARBC contractor for the Louisiana Watershed Initiative, Region 9 coordinator role, and that is the Water Institute. Mr. Garvin Pittman, can you bring us a little update?
Thank you, President Clark. Can you all hear me okay? Okay, as a reminder, there are 29 flood risk reduction projects in the basin. 6 are in construction phase, 18 are in design, and 5 are in the application process. Many of these projects are very large and transformational, and as we all know, the larger the project, the more difficult or the more involved the design permitting process is. These projects are all done on a grant basis, which means just because you don't see funds being drawn down, that doesn't mean work is not being done on them. Here in the Capital Region, you have some of the best engineering and environmental professionals in the country working on these, and there's a lot of confidence that they're going to be able to bring these across the finish line in the proper amount of time. Between November and now, which was the last time we got this report, there have only been 3 projects that drew down funds. Like I said, that doesn't mean work's not going on. The first one is Jones-Vaughn Creek Bridge in West Feliciana. The update on that one is permitting is underway and the 60% design deliverables are imminent. That typically means a pretty quick pace after the permit is obtained, so hopefully we can see a lot of action on that one in the near future. The second one is the Taylor Bayou Regional Improvements within the city of Walker. Wetland delineation is completed. Jurisdictional determination was scheduled for completion at the end of the year, and the geotechnical work should start this week. Geotechnical work is typically a slow process, which means you may not see a whole lot of progress on that from an optic standpoint, but it's important information that has to happen. The last one is Livingston Parish Government Flood Risk Reduction, and on that project they're working to finalize the design features so that they can then go into engineering and design. As you're probably aware, Mr. Sawyer participates in the project meetings for the Bayou du Plancher floodplain acquisition, for the Ward Creek floodplain acquisition, Jones Creek Detention Project, Bayou Manchac Project, and Taylor Bayou Project. If it is the desire of any of the commissioners or their representatives for Paul or myself to attend any of these project meetings or to participate in any way, please let us know. We have that capacity, and I'm sure you're aware back in my skill set is large projects like this, so happy to help in any way that I can. The Louisiana Watershed Initiative, the watershed coordinator position, there really hasn't been much going on that project in the last 2 months. It's probably attributable to the holidays, and there are no meetings on the schedule for that. So it's been a little bit of a light month that way. However, I did submit for Paul and Ms. Tony's approval the quarterly report and the pay request for LWI for the last quarter. Lastly, I believe you all have in your inboxes a wide-ranging proposal for the Water Institute, or anyone for that matter, to assist the Amite River Basin Commission in implementation of non-structural components or non-construction components of the master plan. A lot of that includes model use and storage. It includes warning systems for flood warning systems. It includes assistance with the FEMA CRS program. It includes project and grant management training, if you so wish. We have spoken to the folks at the Office of Community Development to see what of those functions would fall within the Regional Capacity Building Grant. They all do. There is some budget left on the Regional Capacity Building Grant to implement at least some of these. So our next steps, we believe, are to schedule a meeting with the executive committee of this board to try to prioritize what that might be, and then figure out how the executive committee wants to roll that out to the commission and or roll that out into fruition. And happy to take any questions on any of that at this time.
Any questions? Commissioner Savoy?
One comment, Gorman, on the last page for Ascension's projects, this Conway Bayou's got 0 status. Just for the record, our Phase 1 deliverables have been submitted on that for more than a year now. All we're waiting on is Phase 2 approval from FEMA on that for our construction funds, and we're ready to bid that project. So I know it's kind of the LWI face of it, but that is the current status of that project. Stands ready to bid.
Thank you for that, Mr.
And
Savoy.
a couple of other ones, like Lower Bayou Conway's got 0% expenditures. We're approaching 80% plan sets on that. So I'll get from our financials what we've spent to date on that and get that turned in as well.
Okay, just for your information, this information comes directly from OCD.
Yeah.
So you'll have to have them get with their OCD rep on that.
We'll do that.
And if you need me to connect you, I can.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Mr. President?
Yes, Paul.
As a follow-up to Mr. Savoy's comments, just to reiterate, the actual money spent, the actual money drawn down is not an accurate depiction of progress. This is a reimbursable program, so there's a lot of work going on, and then invoices get submitted and have to be drawn down. So if there's a low dollar amount that's been drawn down, or in some cases 0, that's not an indication that there's no activity. It just means it's a reimbursable process. That bill paying aspect just hasn't been dealt with yet. And lastly, we will gladly work with OCD, with any member on this commission, as well as other applicants within your parishes, to try to break log jams with OCD and get these projects moving. We will gladly do that. That's a responsibility of ARBC.
Thank you.
Quick question, Mr. President.
Commissioner Kluwat.
Yeah, this is for Paul and maybe Gordon. You know, it's multiple times, we get the OCD information and it's lagging and Paul, thank you for explaining the reimbursable. You've done it before. I don't know if it's an easy task, but can the report basically, do we have the ability to show the information as you explained of progress or whatever with dollars or a little bit more?
The answer is yes, absolutely, we can do that. And so what we've done with these OCD reports, we've asked them, I think we're the only region in the state that asks them to report to us. As I've mentioned to the commission before, we don't have granular, the Amite River Basin Commission does not have granular visibility on all of these projects unless somebody welcomes us in.
Yeah.
And so we want to be in because we want to help, move these projects along. And so we've asked OCD to provide us these reports. What we handed you, so you can't see this. I think it's in your packet. So OCD gives us a version like this. What you have in front of you today is what Mr. Pittman did as a response to Parish President Quintmall, Commissioner Quintmall, who wanted us to identify the burn rate, which was, an indicator of how these projects are progressing. So, think through whatever you want, and we can tease out whatever's necessary to make these reports more meaningful and actionable to the commission.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President.
To further discuss, you raise a good point, Commissioner Kluwat. From a practical standpoint, it's a good idea to know exactly where we are and where we might be able to help. And considering Water Institute, particularly Mr. Pittman, his seasoned background as a project manager, and our current LWI Region 9 coordinator, watershed coordinator role, it sounds like maybe this is something that we should maybe do to have a little bit closer look at all the projects in our region, look at the different organizations who are trying to implement these projects, and maybe play a little bit more of an active role in helping, like Paul said, break a log jam, or just to provide current updated status about, because LWI, OCD, they can be a little lag phase, and this is not representative of Region 9, but it could be an opportunity. As Garvin, he's good at this and can help us do that. So that may be something to consider if we want to all agree upon that at a later time.
And
perhaps.
I understand that what Paul had said, and Garvin knows, is that the granulars, some of the people are not reporting. They're reporting into OCD. And so, I don't know how I know they got the information, and like Paul said, it's on another sheet.
We could be a little bit more hands-on, to visit these organizations, say EBR or like a LSU, and hey guys, where y'all at? Can we sit down with you?
Well, my only point is like Mr. Savoy's, he was here, so he gave a little quick update on that project. But when you're talking to people in the public about what you're doing, and that, we all represent people, and when you're talking to people in the public, if somebody sees a sheet with zeros on it, that's not necessarily mean that nothing's happening on a project. That's
Exactly. It's not representative of what Ascension Parish has actually done.
just brief summaries on the projects,
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions, commissioners, discussion? Garvin, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, referring back to our agenda, second bullet under old business, number 9, old business, Comite River Diversion Canal Project. I think Paul gave a good synopsis, overview of that. Did anyone, Larry, is Larry here?
Mr. Marino's here.
Mr. Marino, would you have anything to add?
No, sir, I really don't. I think Paul covered it.
Any more discussion on this item? Okay. Referring back to our agenda, number 10, new business. We need to ratify an agreement, a contractual agreement with our appraiser, Mr. James Lowe, and our environmental contractor, HAF. And that is for the upper Amite River Basin land acquisition to acquire an abandoned sand and gravel pit, and our efforts to restore that land, and that become kind of like a pilot of what we can do to help maybe fix what's causing a lot of the problems with the sediment getting in the channel on the lower end. That's capital outlay funding that was approved for the Amite River Basin to do this, and obviously everything, there's a due diligence period, all these boxes, different things, technical documents that you have to do, environmental assessments and appraisals. They don't just give you a check to go buy the land. So you have to do all this stuff. And we're thankful for our contractors, and we have these contracts in place, and I'll entertain a motion.
Public comment.
Any public comments on this? Hearing no public comments, entertain a motion to ratify these contracts. I have a motion by Commissioner Harris and a second by Commissioner Bailey. Any opposition to this motion? Hearing none, motion passes. Next item is Resolution 1197. It's a resolution commending U.S. Congressman Julia Letlow for securing federal funding for the Upper Amite River flood risk reduction and restoration. Paul, would you like to read that resolution, or I know it's a little lengthy and we had a lot of good things to say, but hit on some good highlights?
Yes, sir. I'll hit the highlights, and this is, just keep in mind, the $2 million that she secured for us was finalized after our last meeting. And so that's why we're bringing this up now, which is, almost 2 months after the fact. And so, we want to acknowledge her participation, her partnership in this effort. So I'm just going to hit just a couple of quick highlights, and this resolution is up for the commission's consideration. This is a resolution commending Congresswoman Julia Letlow for securing federal funding for Upper Amite River flood risk reduction and restoration. And the highlights include, whereas the Amite River Basin Commission is charged with advancing flood risk reduction, watershed restoration, and community protection across the Amite River Basin and the capital region of Louisiana, whereas our ARBC's master plan identifies Upper Amite River as a priority area for flood risk reduction and restoration due to its outsized influence on downstream flooding, sediment transport, and system-wide hydraulic performance. And whereas these federal funds secured by Representative Julia Letlow will support restoration of natural river channel and floodplain functions within an unstable reach of the Upper Amite River, particularly in areas impacted by historical industrial operations along the river. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Amite River Basin Commission hereby commends and expresses its sincere gratitude to Congresswoman Julia Letlow for her leadership and partnership in securing $2 million in federal funding for the Upper Amite River Flood Risk Reduction and Restoration Project.
Anybody have any questions about that resolution? Channel instability, natural processes? I'm sorry, Paul. I was kind of impressed how you come up with all of that, but you're spot on.
Okay.
All right, do I have a motion to accept this resolution? I have a motion by Commissioner Bailey and a second by Commissioner Rayford. Any opposition to this resolution? Hearing none, we gratefully pass this resolution. Thank you. Number 11, at the beginning of the meeting, I announced that we would be accepting public comments, and we have one public comment. And I think it's Mr. Kelly Hagar, Baton Rouge, with Riparian. Mr. Kelly, 3 minutes.
Good morning, everyone. Just a quick heads up, there are things, WOTUS means Waters of the United States. This is the second time since the Army lost the second Sackett case in May of '23 that the Army's come out with some proposed rules trying to get their regulations back within the scope of the Clean Water Act. The effect that it's going to have on you, I mean, you're in common with lots of other people, is going to dramatically reduce the amount of wetlands that are jurisdictional. So the need for permits is going to shrink quite a bit. That means the need to purchase mitigation banks credits are going to drop quite a bit. Some of the mitigation banks, particularly the farther in you get, are undoubtedly going to go out of business from lack of customers. The surviving mitigation banks, the price competition is going to get much higher. They got 23,000 comments. So 2% would be 460. So they put on the website 377 comments, about 1.5%. Somehow I managed to get in the comment list twice. If you want to see the comments I made, I'll send it to Mr. Sawyer and you can look at it. Whoever loses is probably going to sue, so there may be around 3. But I'm expecting the Army's rules to upheld. The congressional people are going to be under pressure to change the terms of the Clean Water Act to try to expand or shrink. But the basic line is you guys can expect to have to spend less money for mitigation banking in the future because more and more of the land will not be covered. Just FYI, the main thing I pushed, most people don't know it, in 1986, the Army changed the definition of the ordinary high water mark. They took out the from, which had been in the common law literally from before the Magna Carta, over 1,000 years. So that's how you got fights in North Dakota, because there was a mark in a highway ditch along the side of a road that was, 1,500 miles from the tide. When they took the from out, it allowed them to have all this extra jurisdiction. So the main point I was pushing in my comments, and I quoted a court case that gave the whole history of all that, you guys need to go back and change the definition of ordinary high water mark to put the word from back in it. So it's, depending on which side of the fence you're on, it's either good news or bad news. But the first time the Sacketts went to the Supreme Court, they won 9-0. The second time they won 9-0. In November of 23, back when DEQ and DNR they got together once a year and held annual training sessions, and I was asked to be a guest speaker, asked by name to give them a presentation on what the law of wetlands is. For some reason, if you guys ever want to hear that, I'll show you the slides. But it's basically your bills are about to get a little bit smaller. That's what's probably going to happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hagar. Sounds like there's pros and cons to this. Depends on, I guess, your objective. All right. That will conclude our agenda. It's been a wonderful meeting, and that said, I will entertain a motion to adjourn, unless we have any more comments. Commissioner Kluwat, please.
Yes, I'm honored to be here, but I just want to recognize that we have our PLD Executive Director, Monica Gorman, here. So she's trying to see if I'm doing a good job for you, buddy.
Absolutely. Welcome, Monica. We're always glad to see you. All right. Any more comments? No comments. I have a motion by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Ferlito. Any opposition to adjourning this meeting? Oh, there's opposite? No, I'm kidding. Thank you.